Last Chance Saloon is pretty much the name of the game right now. We have less than a month until the fates coalesce into being, and I'm sure our RNG will be better the higher rank we are, right? Pretty sure that's how it works, right? Hey everyone, and welcome to another ProGuides TFT video. My name is Dan, and today we're going to be talking about patch 10.17's prevalent comps and why they've been so successful. Make sure to play these comps when you can, and you will definitely rise in rank. As with every top comps list, getting the top comp will not guarantee you first place, but it will give you a high enough chance for a top 4 finish, netting you that sweet LP. Positioning, items, and scouting are still your most important tools in this game, working together with your comp in order to give you that shiny first place. In this video, we will talk about each comp, a general playstyle guide, look at items they use and their positioning. This patch did not really change much from the previous one. There are a few new fringe comps in the honorable mentions that you should check out, but things are pretty stable right now. And, well, they should be, since Worlds Tournament is next week. Can't wait! I want to know who you are rooting for. Before we dive in, I just want to let you guys know that we have a Discord community and a new subreddit that is growing really fast. We have you to thank for that, and we want to continue building our community and helping you be a part of it. Make sure you check the link in the description below. With all that said, let's dive right into our top comp for 10.17, and it is Astro Snipers. The Snipers are back with a vengeance, ready to obliterate front lines and chew bubblegum. Pretty sure the front lines are already eliminated, so they gotta go find some bubblegum. I'm sure Timo has some. As we've said before, Astro Snipers is a pivot comp. Due to its starting items, which is usually a tier for blue buff potential, you can actually play anything in the early game with a decent amount of success. Some examples include Nocturne with blue buff plus AP items and some Rebels, which completely nullifies enemy carries. Ahri with blue buff, 1 AP item, and later on, maybe a GA meant for Jhin. With proper positioning, you can destroy everyone. Early Cybers with Vayne or Lucian carrying Jhin items, if that's what you got, is also an option. Past that point, you just look for your 4 costs like Gnar, Teemo, and Jhin fleshing out your comp. The only choice past that point is whether you go 2 or 4 snipers. 2 snipers focuses on frontline more with vanguards and brawlers, whereas 4 snipers has less frontline, more utility, as well as needs to go to level 9. Holding an Ashe and a Caitlyn and transitioning from 2 to 4 snipers at level 9 is a viable option, depending on the lobby and how contested you are. You should be at level 8 by 4-3. Once there, depending on how many Teemos and Jhins you have, you can decide whether you will roll down to 30 or less, focusing on level 9 instead. If your HP is too low, it would be advisable to stay at level 8 and solidify your comp, upgrade your units, and only go 9 in a mad rush if you can start win streaking. Janna remains an interesting tech for this comp, especially in Vanguard heavy lobbies, especially if you can get a Star Guardian's charm on Jhin doing true damage. Positioning for snipers is straightforward. Make sure they are as far from the front line as possible to make use of the hex distance related damage. A really important trick is to place Teemo in a CC unit like Nod or Wook in the face of infiltrators. Due to Teemo attacking the closest target, he will shroom the infiltrator. With the CC from the unit you place near him, infiltrators will not be able to do much to the little rat or anyone else in your comp. So face them head on. With 2 snipers, the comp should look like this. Whereas with 4 snipers, it should look like this. Make sure to scout and switch positions randomly, as your snipers dying will result in a quick loss. As we've said before, don't build only offensive items on this comp. It's really important and will cost you the game if you don't follow it. Jhin likes his Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, and Guardian Angel. Deathblade is a decent alternative, but given the buffs to his scaling, being able to crit every auto attack is huge. Star Guardian Charm and Giant Slayer are also quite efficient items on him, provided you can get Janna for the first one, of course. Teemo wants blue buff and AP items. A lot of people build Morello on him, but it's not enough damage. Jeweled Gauntlet and Rabadons are quite strong on him. Useful frontline items include Redemption, Warmogs, Dragon Claw, Bramble Vest, and Ionic Spark. They can be on Mordekaiser, Gnar, or Wukong. Make sure you itemize them or your snipers won't have enough time before they're jumped by your enemies. The name for this comp remains the same, as does its strength for this patch. Even though Titan's Resolve got nerfed, the comp is really strong and will continue to be so this patch, and probably this set as well. In this comp, you really play what you get outside of the mech. With Shaco being a bit nerfed, it is not a bad idea to have him as a placeholder for Echo instead of using him for the whole game. Victor has a bit more priority as a carry now, and the mech is still as strong as ever. Focus on getting your 3 mech pilots as quickly as possible and play Vanguard Sorcerers in the early game, which is probably the best combination for the mech and Victor items right now. The mech got a bit nerfed in how it scales, and scales a bit more off pilot HP and AD now, instead of having crazy base stats. As such, this comp might be a bit more of a reroll comp now, if you're not contested, as the 3-star versions of at least Rumble and Annie will give quite a bit of oomph to the Garen. If you decide to slow roll it, level 7 is where you want to stay, though getting the 2-star Victor might prove a challenge there. Going to level 8 and then slow rolling is probably the best option, even with the diminished Annie chances, since you want to be able to add Mystics to the fray as well. Adding GP at the end with his new shiny damage is pretty good, especially if you can get a late game Guardian Angel on him. Positioning is the usual mech fare, where you space out the 3 mech components in a neutral position and do the same for infiltrators you might have. Then you scout and position accordingly to the left or right, depending on where your next opponents or the majority of the lobby is leaning. Karma buff is fine on Victor, especially if he has Shojin, so don't worry about moving Shaco and not being fast enough with Karma. At level 9, if you go there or have an FON, you can add an Aurelian Soul, a Janna if there are many Vanguards, etc. With the slight decrease of Shaco survivability and mech base stats, tanky items got a bit better on the mech, like Bramble, Quicksilver, and the like. Quicksilver remains the #1 priority of mechs around the world, since Zephyr on your mech sucks. Besides that, blue buff on Victor, paired with Morello, and possibly another AP item or a Shojin is the dream build. From there, you can have a Shaco with a Guardian Angel, replacing him with an Echo later and giving the GA to Gangplank for some AoE stun goodness. That's it for Mech Mixed Salad. This comp will be seen in the World Championship quite a bit, hopefully not overwhelmingly so. This is great. Space Pirates is actually viable. Yes, this is a tough one to actually pull off, but it's essentially the combination of 2 comps, Blasters and Space Pirates, with a Rebels cherry on top. It's here in the top 3 because when you assemble it, it's really tough to get anything other than a top 2. This comp is quite interesting. You start playing it by essentially playing Vanguard Space Pirate Blasters. You can have Darius hold GP items like GA and Rabadon's, but make sure you have an extra one lying around on the bench so that you can still sell them when you find GP. There's almost never a point to running 3 Space Pirates, so use their other traits as guides on what to play. Did you find Jinx? Play Graves and Jace. Otherwise, play Darius for more damage and possibly augment it with Vanguards and Sorcerers to both increase damage and survivability. The comp definitely tries to power level to 8, if not 9, to find Gangplank. Taking too long to find him will result in a loss, so the most important skill for this comp is to know when to stop and just play Rebels, Jinx, or Brawler Blasters. Jinx itemization does matter, and Rapid Fire Cannon is actually one of the best options for her early. If you decide against running Space Pirates, you can put that GA you made for your GP on her, and you're already in a good spot. At level 9, this comp is almost unstoppable, especially with proper GP items and Jinx cleaning up the mess. The comp looks like this at its best at level 9. If you haven't found Aurelian Soul yet, a Malphite or another Rebel there is fine, but don't make Ziggs into hook bait, since his stun is actually impactful at the start of the fight. Gangplank is always in the front to soak damage and ult quickly, and if you have Ionic Spark on Jace, have them close by to affect the frontliners with the MR reduction. An important trick to remember is people using Riven, who dashes behind GP, to manipulate and confound his ultimate targeting. Be careful and move him around if you see an opponent using Riven that way. Guardian Angel is your bread and butter, as well as any AP items you can get. Many BF swords or recurve bows are not bad, as Jinx uses them really well, either as Giant Slayers or Rapid Fire Cannon. GP likes Rabadon's and Jeweled Gauntlet, or double Rabadon's to pair with his GA. Jace can be itemized with Ionic to carry the mid game, and help Darius do more damage if you're using him. Once at 4 Space Pirates, where you start getting items from killing stuff, arrange them as you will, with a priority for your frontliners to give Jinx more time to clean up the mess. This is a tough comp to play, we're not gonna lie. Stressing it again, don't get baited too far by this. If you can't find GP, transition to Rebels Jinx. If you find GP later, you can still use him to great effect in that comp, and you will do just fine. There are a few honorable mentions you should try out as well this patch. Let's see. Cybernetics are not great right now outside of huge win streaks. If you can get an early win streak with them, you can do well, but they fall off really hard, so make sure you stay on tempo, level, and unit strength wise. Rebels Jinx is doing okay, especially when using Riven to circumvent Gangplanks and Mech's ultimate targeting. Slow roll Chrono Cybernetics with Lucian Carry is actually doing well, and you might see it in some high elo games. It's a relatively risky comp, but if you nail the mid game, you can carry it to a top 2 finish. Star Guardians are really strong still, paired with Protectors, usually to devastating effect. With less competition, More 3-star Syndras and Nicos are popping up too. Blade Masters are still really strong, so don't stop playing them. The Yi nerf wasn't that impactful, and he is still able to slice and dice opponents, same as Xayah. That's it for this video. We will be uploading every week on Wednesday and Sunday. Thanks so much for watching and for making sure to check out our TFT content on YouTube and our high elo coaches on ProGuides.com. If you have feedback for us, comment below and we will be happy to read what you have to say. And if you want to find me anywhere on social media, you can at Daniel Lammerman. Now get out there and farm some LP using the comps you saw here today. See you guys in the next video.